So there was a shooting in Alamosa, and here's the city of Alamosa for immediate release. They're saying this happened on May 7th, 2025. They said that it's an 8th Street shooting incident. They're not saying it's an attempted murder. And in fact, they're not telling us really a goddamn thing. They've already decided who's the guilty party and who's the innocent party. So they said 12:24 p.m. Alamosa Police Department was notified of a shooting that occurred in the 200 block of 8th Street. When they arrived, officers discovered a male victim with a gunshot wound who is conscious and able to speak with law enforcement. Subsequently, officers and Alamosa County Sheriff's deputies apprehended a suspect without resistance. Without resistance. So they didn't arrest a hardened criminal who is bent on his ways and can't be reformed without resistance. Detectives are currently interviewing multiple identified witnesses. The victim was taken to the SLV Regional Medical Center before being airlifted to a Front Range hospital. The victim. So we're already picking sides here. And they said male victim, and they're not really telling us who this victim is. Currently in critical condition, the suspect, Daniel Barela, 60 of Alamosa, was also hospitalized. He also went to the hospital. So that means he had injuries. We're saying the victim had a gunshot wound, but we're also saying that Daniel Barela was hospitalized. So not a gunshot wound, but some sort of scratch, some sort of bruise, released into law enforcement custody following an interview. So this means Daniel Barela had talked to the police. Barela was transported to the Alamosa County Jail. Barela is charged with the following: criminal attempt, second-degree murder, first-degree assault, robbery, reckless endangerment. I want to trust that all these people are on the up and up. But I very much remember Robert Thrash. I very much remember, what was that one guy? I remember there was one guy that shot and murdered a person, and he was released within 6 months because he claimed self-defense. He just claimed self-defense, and the DA, Annie Kelly, couldn't, prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt. And so, God, his name is escaping me right now. It was like David Delata. So David Delata shot and killed Omega Revelation something. And he just sat in jail for about 6 months, and then they went ahead and released him because they couldn't prove the case, and they were going to give him a lesser charge, so he accepted a lesser charge. It's almost like, well, he obeyed. We were able to apprehend him. He's been sitting in jail, and we apprehended him. He's sitting in jail. He accepted a lesser plea agreement. We can't prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt, and since we can't, we're going to go ahead and release him. Well, I also remember Robert Thrash. They said he tried to do robbery. Well, he was actually just trying to collect on his bond. He's a bail bondsman. The guy didn't show up for court. He had, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 or something that he needed to get back. So the guy took the money, didn't go to court. And so, if the police aren't going to do their job, then Robert Thrash stood up and did the job. And then the guy pulls out a gun. He shoots the gun. The partner gets shot, and then he ends up shooting the guy that they were searching for. So they found the guy. And they shot him and killed him, and R.I.P. to that guy. But they said that he tried to rob him. And so what's he doing? I mean, did he just look around the place for some evidence? Try to rob him, try to steal his money, try to steal his jewels, because that wasn't the point of him going into that damn house to take his jewels. His point was to, essentially not lose the bond, not lose the money. He put the money up. But they said that Robert Thrash, they tried to say he was guilty of robbery as well. And then second degree, so that's not as bad as first degree, which first degree is what? With deliberation, and then first degree assault, and then reckless endangerment. Like, why? If you're going to go with second degree murder, what is reckless endangerment compared to second degree murder? It's like, well, hell, maybe we might not get second-degree murder, so let's just do reckless endangerment. Let's do one of the smallest, tiniest charges out there. The motive for the shooting remains under investigation. Well, that's important. That's the story, you know. That's the story. The motive for the shooting, well, you just charged the guy with robbery. That you're kind of insinuating, if not outright saying, that he shot the guy to try to rob him. Why else would you charge him with robbery if that isn't why he did it? Charges may be amended. However, authorities have confirmed that this is an isolated event and it poses no ongoing threat to public safety. Oh, okay, that's nice. See something, say something. So these people are absolutely thicker than thieves. Here's pretty much the same story. Alamosa police investigate noon hour shooting on 8th Street. Is this just a stock photo right here? Or did he actually go out there and take a picture of this tire? And then, what is this? A bunch of concrete walls and whatnot. Bob Richards. Upon arrival at the scene, officers discovered a male victim with a gunshot wound. This is the same damn story. So all they did was just copy and paste what the Facebook page of the Alamosa City had said. Alamosa City put out some information. As a journalist, you're supposed to, question the official narrative. So the official narrative is that there's clearly one bad guy, clearly one good guy. Let's see if we can see anything about this Daniel Barela. Who is this Daniel Barela? Let's see if any information comes up, because he's 60 years old. That seems peculiar. Why would a 60-year-old person try to rob somebody else? Does that sound right to you? Does that sound like that's something that 60-year-old men go around doing? That doesn't make sense to me at all. And I don't know if any of these pictures are Daniel Barela, but we'll have to get back to it. Okay, so we don't get any information. Nothing else is being reported. Nothing else is being said. So they're keeping this thing tight-lipped, right? They clearly have picked a winner and a loser. Cops are the judge, juries, and executioners. It doesn't matter who the fucking judge is. It doesn't matter who the clerk or the prosecutor is. Since Daniel Barela, 60 years old, has been the one that's chosen to be the criminal, then his charges are going to stick. They're going to do anything and everything to make sure that their initial assessment, the police's initial assessment, because the courts and the prosecutors don't give a damn about the truth. The truth doesn't matter to them. And they're going to try to paint this Daniel Barela, 60 years old, as a criminal. A guy who tried to do second-degree murder, first-degree assault, robbery, and reckless endangerment. That's what they're going to try to paint him up. And then who's this other person? Well, we're going to try to keep this person on the hush, on the low. We're not going to say who the guy was. We're not going to say what they're engaged with. And then the motive for the shooting remains under investigation. They're not telling us the full story. People don't just go around shooting people for no goddamn reason whatsoever.